All right. Hey, we're live.
Hey,
What's up, peeps?
night of the NCAA finals, and we're still doing this crazy stuff.
I know. Dr. Warm and I were just talking before this, and I was like, I don't watch a lot of basketball, but like we scheduled this on the night of the NCAA championship.
I know, and I played college basketball, and I still didn't even think about it. It was terrible.
So I just want to say, first of all, kudos to all of you that are out there right now and putting that stuff on the back burner to come here and learn about Google AdWords and how you can use it to grow your practice. That says a lot because a lot of other people are doing other stuff that is not going to be as productive.
Absolutely. Right.
So, hey, as you're, I know y'all are sitting out there right now, do me a favor, just type in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Always like to see that. Always like to see where. I always love it, man, when I see like people saying like Australia, the Netherlands, Singapore, things like that, because it just like makes you realize that, man.
Yeah, we're actually doing some catapult ads out in Australia right now. So.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. Oh, so we're international now. We're in Canada, Australia, and in the U.S. So.
Right. So just wait, Ross, Dr. Ross from Queensland, Australia. Nice. Nice. Where are the rest of you from? Just type in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And then what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Warman here in a minute or so. And what he's going to do is he's going to go through a presentation with you. You probably see the notepad here on the screen. So he's got a nifty little piece of software where he can kind of write things down and do some doodles and stuff for you. But he's going to go through and he's going to show you how you can leverage Google AdWords to attract, at a minimum, 15 new patients in just the next 30 days. And you've got clients that are getting way more than that.
Yeah, we're getting clients getting over 30. And that's what, like, less than $700 in ad spend. So it's been very effective as far as the approach and the strategy that we're approaching it with, and how we're putting things in systematized to create predictable outcomes, which is always nice.
Yeah, well, that's the whole title of this. As you guys know, the title of this webinar, this web class, is New Patients in Heat. And that's the beautiful thing about this particular strategy is that, unlike Facebook, which you guys know, for those of you that know me, I do a lot of Facebook advertising, but through Facebook, it's all about like relationship building, and getting people warmed up, getting them to know, like, and trust you, and then making offers to them. And the thing that I love about Google AdWords and why I think every chiropractor should have it in their practice is because people are going to that platform and they're typing in keywords like, chiropractor near me, which Dr. Warman will talk maybe why that's not necessarily always the best keyword. But they're typing in things in the search engine because they're looking for a solution and an answer to that problem right now. And they're looking for somebody to help them solve that problem right now. So they are new patients in heat. They're looking for something. So Dr. Warman, I'll turn it over to you and bring the heat.
All right. So let's talk about it. Listen, I've been in practice for 20 years now. My dad's a chiropractor. My little brother's a chiropractor. And I've coached over 100 offices now, and I've owned 7 of my own practices. So I understand our biggest challenge is NPI, right? New patients in the door. NPI. Every month, we're trying to get new people in the door so we can grow our referral tree, grow our business, and grow our income. Now, the frustrating part is we're not always getting qualified people. We're not always getting people that actually want our service. We are attracting a lot of people that we are trying to convince to come into our office, but they're actually not searching for us to come to our office. Just like, Chris, you were just talking about Facebook ads people. Facebook ads people can be great patients, but the biggest volume of them are tire kickers. Right. So when I put new patients in there, when I'm looking at new patients, I want a qualified new patient. Now, to me, a qualified new patient, I had 4 criteria for a qualified new patient. Now, this is not an end all be all, but when I'm paying a marketer, if I'm putting dollars out, what do I want to attract? I want to attract a qualified new patient. Now, one thing for me, qualified is they have to be at least 25 years old. Now, could you be a patient of mine and be 18, 17? Yes. Here's the thing. If they're younger than 25, they typically need someone else to help them out financially and make a decision, which makes it a tougher transition to get someone under care. So I'd rather, if I'm going to put marketing dollars out there, who is my avatar? Who do I want to attract? It's at least someone that's at least 25 years old. The other thing, I'm looking for a geographic radius. Now, depending on if I'm inner city, like my Lincoln Park practice was, or if I'm suburban, like my Downers Grove practice, it's going to be different dimensions. Inner city, I had about a 3-mile radius, or 5-6 kilometers if you're Canadian. In the suburbs, I had more like an 8 to 15-mile radius, depending on highways and traffic and things of that nature. So I wanted to kind of spearhead my geographics so I'm getting the biggest bang for my buck and I'm attracting qualified people that can actually get to me. The third thing is they actually have to have a complaint or a problem that they think chiropractic can help with. Now, if someone comes into my office with irritable bowel syndrome, can we help them out with chiropractic? Yes, we have solutions that chiropractic can help with that, but they don't have a perceived vision that that's what we're good at, right? They need education, they need knowledge, they need transformation in order to understand that process. I want people coming to us because they think that we're a solution to their problem. And unfortunately with chiropractic, it's down to a few things, right? We got headaches, neck pain, back pain, sciatica, shoulder pain, carpal tunnel. So we are more limited, but they understand that we can be a solution to that. So they're actually coming for a problem that they know we can help them with. And the fourth thing is they either have a job or insurance that can help pay for care. Medicaid, unfortunately, is not qualified if they can't afford the care. Not everyone can get care in my office. Does everyone need chiropractic? Yes, but they don't all need it from you. So if I'm putting money out, I'm investing in getting a qualified new patient in. These are my criteria. Listen, I've had marketers work for some of my offices and they got bonus based on new patient volume. They would bring in anyone and anyone off the street just to hit their market. So if they weren't qualified, didn't count towards their bonus structure. So be careful how you're bonusing your PRCA, because they can, if you don't have these limitations, they can bring in just their friends that don't really want care, but they want to make these numbers. They can bring the homeless guy off the street. It doesn't matter. They need to be qualified in order to make it make sense. So my whole goal is, how can we get qualified people that want your service in your door as often and consistent as possible? Predictability. That's why I say there's 4 types of new patients. There's the new patient in heat, the one that is searching you online. They have a problem. They're looking for a solution. So they Google online, like you said, chiropractor near me, which that's what everyone is using now. So it's going to cost you a lot per click. So if you say low back pain chiropractor near me, that'll actually save you some click money. So there's a quick tip that you can do. You can add a little specificity to it so that you can differentiate yourself and you're not paying as much per click, because again, we got to be smart with our investment with that. So when people are searching for us, they have a problem and they're looking for a solution, and then they think you might be a solution. So a patient in heat is actually someone that's they're urgent. They're in heat. They want to do something now. Now we have the patient in power. Our second best patient are our referral patients, right? You guys would probably agree, because we already have third-party approval. Someone else already vouched for us and said, we're good at what we do. Trust this person. It makes it easier to convert them into a new patient. There's already third-party approval. A lot of your people try to get third-party approval by going to your reviews, right? The people that are searching online are looking at your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews, your Facebook reviews, because that's giving them validity that someone else likes your product. That's why referral patients are such good patients, because someone has already vouched for you. And I know a lot of offices, I used to be the same way, saying, hey, I'm a referral-based practice. That was my high horse that I put myself on. I'm just a referral-based practice. Here's the problem. If you're a referral-based practice, you're a personality-driven practice. If I take you out of the equation, your referrals will go away. And eventually, you want to run a good business, not just have a good job. And having a good business means you can remove yourself and the business runs without you. So what I want to do is create systems and structure for you that create predictability so that your new patient volume is not based on your charisma or the way you can speak. It's based on energy out creates energy back in, and it's systematized and predictable. Now, the third type of patient is our tire kicker patients, or our looky-loo patients, right? So if you've ever done a spinal screening, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? We stand outside, we spend weekends doing fairs, and we try to convince people to come in. We have to get them down. We have a bird dog out front doing the screenings, trying to get them in. Then we do a kind of stress survey, or we do some kind of examination or screening. And then we try to convince them that they need to come see us for a reduced or ridiculous fee to become a new patient. And yes, does it work? Absolutely. But it's a lot of work and energy, wouldn't you guys agree? I know I got burnt out of doing screenings every other weekend, or going to the gym during the day or at nighttime after. You got to do it in the beginning, but over time you can actually automate your marketing so that you're not relying on putting that much time and energy out there. And now it's even costing money because these places know the rate of return you guys get from a new patient. So they're charging tons of money to go, like a Lifetime Fitness or LA Fitness or Export or any of those. Now you actually got to pay to go do screenings, and then you got to pay staff to do it. And then it's energy or time away from your family. The other type of tire kicker is your Facebook patients, right? We're putting a lot of energy and funds towards being seen on someone's feed. Again, if you're doing like Chris does and you're creating a tribe and a following, you're going to gain some clarity. You're going to gain some trust with these people. So eventually they will become a patient for you, but you don't get as many early adopters. The ones that are the early adopters are like your Groupon people. They see this really cheap fee, so they act upon it so they can get what they want out of it and then be done with you. And these are the people, if you guys have done this, you've probably seen that they schedule with you and then they don't show up a lot of time. And that is hard for a practice when you don't have predictability that that person's actually going to show up, and you're putting all these money and numbers into that. And then you could have had a day 2 or a report of findings at that same time, but that person didn't show up. It's a real morale breaker for the office. We want to create predictability, someone that actually wants to come in and do that. Your lunch and learns are the same way as tire kickers, your dinner talks. All these things are about going out, trying to educate and entice people to come in to see if what we can do can change their life. Now, should this be a pillar in your practice? Absolutely. But should it be done all the time? Not if you don't need to, right? Why don't you spend your money at home, time at home, so you can actually have fun with your kids and have a hobby and have a life? And then there's the fourth type of new patient, the person that doesn't want you at all, right? You ever have the wife bringing the husband that sits there with his arms crossed and says, I don't want to be here. You could pay him and he doesn't want to be there, right? We want to stay away from those as much as we can. But what we want to do is get qualified new patients in your door. So today we're going to be talking about how to get the best qualified new patient in your door. And we have found through research, through years of experience with this, it is Google Ads campaigns are your biggest bang for your buck to attract qualified new patient, not just numbers of new patient, but qualified new patients. So my first question to you guys is, I want you to think about it in yourself and say, how much money are you willing to spend for a new patient? I bet you've never thought of this. I got challenged on this before. I say, how much money are you willing to invest to get a new patient? And I used to think, like, if I bonus someone 20, 30 bucks for a new patient, that was a lot. But then you got to look at the math. You got to look at the facts. Too many of us live in the fiction. We live in the fantasy of what's really going on. But when we look at the facts, we can actually make educated decisions and invest more because it's getting us a good rate of return. So if I'm spending, say, $200 a new patient, but my case average is only $400, then it's not a good investment because I'm only getting a 2-to-1 rate of return. If I invest $200 for a new patient, but I make $800 from that patient, then it's actually viable. Anytime we do a marketing event, we are looking to get at least a 4-to-1 rate of return on our investment. Anytime you do something financially, look at, are you getting a 4-to-1 rate of return? Now, ultimately, I want you guys getting closer to the 10-to-1 rate of return. Meaning I spend $1,000, I make $10,000, right? That's healthy. That's strong. If you're getting more than a 10-to-1 rate of return, I got people that brag about that, say, listen, it cost me $1,000, I got 30 new patients. I say, that's awesome. You're not spending enough money. Because if you spend more money, that number will increase even more. So you want to outspend all your competition in your area when it comes to marketing. Because if you're outspending your competition and you're getting at least close to a 10-to-1 rate of return, you are killing everyone in your area. This is true business approach, not just retracting to greatness. You can't retract to greatness when it comes to your marketing. You actually have to invest in your marketing. Your marketing is your number one investment. The number one asset that you have is yourself, right? Too many people, we make money, then we give it to someone else to try to make us more money, and hopefully we're getting a 10% rate of return. But what if you took that same money, say you take $1,000, you get it to some kind of brokerage firm or something like that, and they get you a 10% rate of return. Okay, that was okay. But if I took that same $1,000 and I put it in a Google Ads campaign and I got 30, 40 new patients in, and you got a $2,000 case average, that's a $60,000, $80,000. It's a huge rate of return. Reinvest in yourself. Don't get afraid of the money when it comes to investing in your marketing, right? As long as you're getting a good rate of return, keep strengthening it until it stops. If you're not getting at least a 4-to-1 rate of return, reallocate that income. I know a lot of people invest in doing lunch and learns. I used to do them. There's some companies out there that you would pay them to do a lunch and learn, and you never know what you're showing up for. And then you have people there that were supposed to be there for lunch, and it's mandatory. They don't want to be there, and you spent $500 for the talk, another few $100s for food, and then time and your staff, and then you got back to the office and you got a few new patients out of it, or a lot signed on and not a lot show up. Or you get 20, 30 sign on, they come into your office to find out that you don't take their insurance, and they tell everyone else, and then no one else comes over because they just spoiled the whole pot, right? I'm sure some of you guys have experienced that in the past, and it's just a big letdown. Then you look at the rate of return, and it's very minimal. Why not? Let's be efficient, get a great rate of return, and actually attract people that are looking for us. So this is what the Google Ads campaigns is. So I want you to ask yourself this: how much money did you spend on marketing last month? Typically, when you're beginning in your marketing, you want to spend 3 to 10% of your gross revenue, gross collections in your marketing. Okay. If you collected 50 grand last month, 5 grand should be in marketing. Up to 5 grand should be in marketing. Unless it's making you more than a 4-to-1 rate of return, you should be spending more. But here's a good starting place. One thing I would even say what you guys should do is have a marketing account. Have a checking account strictly for your marketing that you put that 10% in every month. And if you don't use it, it keeps allocating, it keeps building up. So when you have the big things coming up, you have the income in there.
That's gold. I would write that down, guys. That right there. So many people don't have that. Like, I would write that down, and that would be something I would implement tomorrow.
If you don't learn anything from tonight's webinar, put money into an account so that you can market. Because when do we get the most fear of marketing? Is when we have a bad month. Right? This is when we start to retract. If you already have money in the account, it's not fearful. And when things are going down, it's time to promote even more. So we got to really make sure that we have that in there. So create a marketing budget and create an account that's strictly for your marketing that keeps accumulating if you don't use it. But that'll give you stability, and you won't come from a place of scarcity. Once you start doing that, you have to track your ROI, right? You want to get at least a 4-to-1 rate of return, but we want to get up to a 10-to-1 rate of return. And if we're getting 10-to-1 or more, we're going to need to invest more money so that we keep growing and making sure that that's going in the right direction. Now, if you're afraid to put a lot of money into your marketing, you value safety more than growth. It's just the facts. We are more comfortable being safe than actually growing our business. And when we try to scale our business, there's risk. Now, looking ahead is not hard. It's letting go of what we have. That's the hard part, because that's the comfort part. But think about when you first started practice, you would do anything to grow your practice because you either feast or famine, right? If you didn't make anything, you don't eat. Now, when we get comfortable and we start making a little money, there's something to lose. So now that comfort zone is a little harder to let go of because that's comfortable for us versus the growth and what we actually deserve. So don't be afraid to do stuff that's going to grow your business. But I want you to make moves based on math, not based on emotion. So you got to live in the facts. You got to look at the stats. You got to look at the truth of what's really happening. How much are you spending? How many new patients are you getting in the door? So look at your cost. So the one thing we're going to look at is, what is the cost? What is it costing you in your marketing? So that's your cost. And then we're going to look at what's called CPI, cost per lead. How much does it cost you for a lead? So Facebook, this is a big thing that you market. You're trying to get a lot of leads, right? And then we have to call those leads. We got to farm those leads. We got to put energy towards those leads. With the Google Ads as well, we're going to put money on, but these people, their leads are going to be converted into a funnel system so that we can retarget them even if they don't call us. So you have to have a way to retarget your leads so we don't lose them. How much time have you guys spent in accumulating leads? Just think about all the screenings you've done in the past, all the stress surveys you've accumulated, right? And what do most of us do when we get the stress survey, when we get back? We put it in a file folder or they get shredded. And these are all people that were interested in you at one time. They just weren't ready to act. So we want you to be able to retarget these people. So what's your cost per lead? Then we got to look at what's the cost per new patient cost per new patient in your door. So so we have so many leads. How many actually scheduled in your office? Okay. I want this number to get around $100. If you're paying $100 to do a new patient exam for a patient, it's a great rate of return. Unless you only have a $200 case average. But most of you, I'm sure you don't. But most of the offices I work with and I coach, we're getting into the $3,000 to $4,000 case averages. If it's only costing you $100 to make $4,000, if you gave me $100 and I gave you $4,000 back, you would keep doing that all day long.
All day.
All day. So when we get into the $300-$400 for a new patient, that's when it's not very efficient unless you got a crazy high case average. Like if you do neuropathy or decompression and you're talking $6,000 case averages for short cases, okay, it's willing because your rate of return is there. But I want you guys to get to around $100 for a new patient in your door. So then you're figuring out, what does it cost me for a client? So now cost per client is patients that have started care. How much is it costing me for a patient to start care? If I have a $2,000 case average and it costs me $200 for a patient to start care, that's a 10-to-1 rate of return. I am doing that all day long. But we got to live in the numbers. We actually have to track this stuff. So how do we track our true case average? I know coaches have taught us this multiple ways here. Now, the way I calculate your case average, if we're looking at case average, I'm looking at number of sign-ons, people have started care, divided by your collections. I don't want just new patients in the door, because new patients in the door doesn't tell me what the lifelong value of my patient, because if I don't start them and they're only tire kickers, it's not showing me my true value of them. That's your day one, day two process. Once someone is signed on with us, how much are they worth? What's the lifetime value of that patient? So figure that out, then you know what your true case average is, and then you could see what your close percentage is, and then you can actually predict, well, I need this many new patients to get this close percentage to make this much income. It's just a reverse engineer. Okay. And when we look at these things, I want you to look at, okay, where do I want to be in the end of 2019? What is my goal? Say I want to make $1 million, but right now I'm at $500,000. So I'm 500 grand off, right? And if I have a $2,000 case average, well, how many new patients do I need to make up that 500K? Just reverse the math. Okay. So this is it's a numbers game. But we want to get qualified people coming in your door so you're not wasting money with a bunch of tire kickers. Okay? All right, so let's look at this. 90 to 95% of the people that you market to don't make a decision right away. Only 5 to 10% of people are called early adopters, right? You probably see that too, Chris, right? When we put money out, when we do an advertising out, 5 to 10% will act right away. 90 to 95% need 90 to 120 days to gain trust with you before they take an action step. That's why Chris's program is so good, because you're creating a tribe and you're kind of always retargeting, giving value so that they finally feel they trust you to come in your door. This is the same with your Google ads. If we're only trying to get early adopters, you can be successful, but then you have the roller coaster. Because you put a certain amount of ad spend, you get the early adopters, but it's not predictable. Once you start getting more and more leads and people that weren't early adopters but were interested, and you retarget them, now you create consistency. So this is where we create the predictability. This is why over time we can use $500 to $700 of ad spend and get you 30 new patients a month. Because we know what landing pages to use, how to retarget, how to keep them in the queue and keep these people farmed, not just hunted, so that they learn to trust you and see value in you. And that way you keep building a tribe that like what you have, and then you can reach out to them and they can start to come in. So now you're going to create more consistency. So now every month you still get your early adopters, but you get the people that took 90 to 120 days to germinate that finally start coming in. So this is where the numbers really start to explode with you. So don't just hunt, cultivate. Now, here's the problem with chiropractors. Our values get in the way of our marketing. Our above, down, inside out, our wellness model, if that's how you practice, gets in the way of our marketing. What do people search for? Do they search for wellness most of the time? Some do. And those are the early adopters, right? There's probably 10 to 15% that may do that. Most people are looking for a solution to a pain. 80% of people are motivated by pain than pleasure. So we have to speak to their pain. We have to actually speak to their language, to their value system, so that we can actually attract them, then show them what they can have. Too many of us, we think that it's our value system that we're going to just change their mind. You're not going to change 40, 50 years of someone's mind in one ad or in one day in your office. You need to be able to meet someone where they're at, but then show them what they can have. That way they learn trust from you, they can create value, and then you can get them in your doors. Because ultimately we want to help as many people as possible naturally. But if we don't speak their language, we're already creating a break-in barrier and we're not in rapport with them. And the number one rule of sales is being in rapport. So we got to stay in rapport. So we have to understand that their worldview and their values are different than ours. And if we can get out of our way, we can actually see more than 2% of the population. Think about this. We've been doing this for 100 and some odd years now, right? And we still only see about 2% of the population. We are not speaking the right language in order to attract those people in your doors so that you can educate them and change them into a chiropractic lifestyle. So you think about it, advertising is not about getting attention. It's about having people make decisions. And you have to have the right flow so for them to make a good decision. So if all you're doing is having a Google ads or a Facebook ad, but it's not getting funneled to a decision, you're losing so much of the effort, right? How many people you know, Chris, make a Facebook ad and it's just targeted to their website or it's targeted, say, just call, there's no real action step. Just about to tell you that, like, I talk to people all the time who are like, hey, usually people trying to do their own ads, and they'll say, hey, can you take a look at my ads and maybe give me some feedback? Because like, I'm not converting anybody. And I go and look at their ad on their page and I click on it and it takes them straight over to the homepage of their website. And I'm like, oh my God, no, you never, ever do that. You never do that. Websites used to be the thing. It's not anymore. A website is a business card. Okay. And if it takes someone longer than 5 seconds to find what they're looking for, they're gone. That's why we have to have landing pages set up appropriately that actually have a funnel system and a sales process to get them to take an action step. If you're not doing that, you may get new patients, but you're missing out on so many new patients and you're not capturing the leads of people that are interested in you, so you can't retarget them later. So your cost per new patient is astronomical versus what it could be if you actually kept them retargeted and farmed your patients. So one thing you got to look at is like, who are you selling to? What are you selling? You know, we have to take people through a process in order to get them to actually become a patient. Okay. They're first asleep. They don't know about you. We got to make them aware, and then we got to make them awake. So when they're asleep, we have to get them to click on the ad. Okay. So they're searching online. You have to have a nice ad that entices people to click on you. So they're still asleep there. Once they're asleep, we got to get them to a landing page where they can opt in. Now they're aware that they need to do something with this. So that's the opt-in page. So now we're gaining the lead. And then to make you awake means they've actually scheduled an appointment with you. They're coming in your doors. So we have to take them through from asleep to aware to awake to actually make them make a decision. So how do we get them from asleep, right? The first thing we have to do is we have to connect with them. We have to connect with them with the challenge they are facing, right? So in our strategy, we don't just put one Google ad and one landing page because we're only going to get one specific person searching for one thing. We have over 12 different approaches, different landing pages that we're going to attract different ones at the same time. This is how we can actually make our numbers go up or down based on how many landing pages we have set up and how we're targeting your audience. It has to be compelling. It has to be something that looks like a solution to their problem, right? They got the pain. They want paradise. There's got to be a path. How can we show them the path to paradise? There's got to be a solution that's different. It's a different opportunity than what they've had. If they think it's just better than what they've done, it's not as enticing. It has to be unique. It has to be a different opportunity or vehicle. You hear marketing people talk about vehicles now. It's a different vehicle to get them there, right? So if you had a race and you had a Tour de France cyclist on a training with training wheels on a little kid's bike, and then you had a 10-year-old on a 10-speed, who's going to win the race? The 10-year-old on the 10-speed, because they have the right vehicle. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. If you don't have the right vehicle, you're not going to be successful. So we have to create the right vehicle for them to see, oh, this is a new vehicle. This is a new opportunity for me to actually finally get this problem fixed. You have to have a compelling offer for them to want to do it. And it doesn't need to be reduced to ridiculous, but it's got to be some kind of risk reversal. So Google Ads, keys to success. One thing don't have is negative keywords. So if someone searches happy endings for massage, and you have massage in your office, and you show up as one of the massage places, and people keep clicking on you because they think that, guess what? You become the happy endings massage. Not good for what people are searching for. So that's a negative keyword. So look at if you have any negative keywords that are showing up. You also have to tweak your ads because of your competitors. They can't be the same as your competitors. It makes your cost per click so high. So sometimes you have to put specific things, either your area or a symptom or a technique that you use to make yourself slightly different than any of your competitors. So now it makes you unique, doesn't make you a commodity, and it costs you less per click. So, but it also must be relevant. It's got to be for something people are looking for. It can't be for stuff that people aren't really searching for. If it doesn't make sense to our industry, and it's like, oh, have more Zen or more aura in your life or something like that, that might be good for some of you guys, but that's not going to attract the people that are searching for you to be a solution to your problem, to their problem. So here's the big thing: they have to be able to connect to your office quickly and efficiently. So either you have to have an online calendar that they can click to, or they call your office and someone that can answer the phone right away. So if you're running these things during the weekend, do you have a CA that can answer the phone and has scripting to get people in the door? Proper scripting is going to make or break people coming in your door. I have called offices up just to be a ghost shopper, and they're like, what? It's not enticing. You have to enter a conversation so they feel like they called the right place, right? It requires consistent attention to detail in training for them to be successful. All right. The ads are only as successful as your conversion to getting them into a new patient. So you either have to have an online scheduling format, or when they call your office, you got to be able to call them back right away. Time is all the essence, right? Time kills all sales. So if it takes too long, they might have found a different solution, because remember, they're in heat already. And if they can't set up with you right away, they're going to set up with someone else. So make sure you guys are on track with those things. So one of the problems is if we don't set up Google correctly, they don't trust you. And it takes time, energy, and effort for them to start trusting you again, the way their algorithms work. So the good news is you don't have to be completely tech savvy, but you got to know how to set this up correctly. If you want, what we're doing is we're offering you guys a step-by-step process on how to do the Google Ads campaigns, right? It's 4 easy steps. It takes you about 60 minutes to totally set up. Right? It's the same process that we're using in 7-figure practices that are getting 30 or 40 new patients a month just from their Google Ads campaigns. That way, you don't have to waste as much money in screenings and talks and putting a lot of energy out there. Yes, I still want you to do some of those things. I still want you to have pillars of marketing, but if you can get as efficient as you can with this, your ROI will be through the roof. And that's what we want to get, is your ROI through the work. We're going to show you how to target your area, what keywords actually work best, and that you need a landing page to be able to do this stuff. So we're going to give you a list of keywords as well. So the good news is it's set up for healthcare. We are chiropractors. We do this in our chiropractic offices. This is something we've been testing. We have a bunch of offices actually doing this right now. And it's just last week alone, we had over 100 new patient appointments scheduled throughout I think it was 7 offices. So it's really starting to gain traction in here. We're testing it. It's simple. It's efficient. The good news is normally to do all this stuff, it's going to cost you a lot. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of energy. If you sign up today, it's $97. For $97, you can learn how to do it yourself. Now, the thing is, not everyone wants to do it themselves. Okay. Some people like myself, I like to delegate. I like to get it off my plate. I don't like dealing with their different click funnels. I don't like dealing with certain tech. I'm just not good with that stuff. I outsource all that stuff so that I focus on what I'm really good at. So if you're interested in having us do it for you, because we already know how to do the landing pages, we split tested all the pages. It's predictable. We have an application button that you can press that Chris is going to link up there. You have to apply for us to do it with you because we do exclusivity on area. We don't want to do the same action step with two offices in too close proximity because you're going to be fighting for the same people. And that's not fair. We want you to be able to have exclusivity in your area, turnkey for you so that you can have the most predictability. So if that's something you're interested in, click on the link for that.
So a couple of things, guys. So that program, the do-it-yourself program, is normally $497, but Dr. Worman is giving it to you guys for just $97. That's to the first 6 people. So if you want that thing, click on it, go over and grab it because there's more than 6 people on this web class. Go get it now. If you want him to his team to do it for you, he has an application because you're going to need to apply because it might not be a good fit. And
it might not be the right area. And the other thing we'll do, we'll also even give you a free marketing strategy session as well.
Yeah.
Okay?
There you go.
So we have people that pay us over $2,500 just for the marketing strategy session. So we will actually include a free strategy session, whether we can take you or not. That way, at least you'll get some value out of this. And that way you'll know what direction you should be going in as well.
That's awesome. That's immense value. So that's the thing. So either you can do it yourself, everything's laid out for you. The program, it will take them about an hour to go through it if they decide to do it themselves, right?
It's about an hour. It's a 4-step process with little things to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do it yourself. If you're like me, I love to outsource stuff. So even though I do marketing, I have team members and stuff that I outsource setting up the ads to. I'm the strategy guy, but I have a team in place that helps me get those out. So if you don't have the right team in place, you might want to look at hiring Dr. Worman. So so go ahead and click. There's 2 links in the chat as well, guys and girls. So go ahead and click those links and go over there and get signed up again. Actually looks like we've got 3 of them sold already. So there's 3 left. So go over there and get those remaining 3 if you want it.
Yeah, and set up the strategy session as well. Let's talk to you guys. Let's maximize your office. Let's get you as profitable as we can for the rest of 2019 so you can actually crush your goals.
Awesome. Hey, Dr. Worman, thanks for doing this tonight. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for everyone joining us, even though it's the final 4 finals tonight, and taking the time to actually do something that's towards your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you'll be in time to catch the second half if you did want to catch it.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
We'll catch you on the flip side.
Click the link below.
And Dr. Worman, I think you can stop the broadcast up above there on your side.
All right.